Because at the end of the day, the only person whose approval you need is the one staring back at you in the mirror. And once you have that, once you truly have that, nothing and no one can stand in your way. So what's it going to be, huh? You going to keep begging for scraps at their table? Or are you finally going to stand up and claim what's rightfully yours? Or are you finally ready to take the whole damn table for yourself? Let me tell you something, kid approval? It's a leash. A noose around your neck. The tighter you cling to it, the less air you get, the smaller your world becomes. And the sickest part, you're the one pulling it tighter. You've spent your whole life dancing for them, haven't you? Twisting and contorting yourself into whatever shape they'd approve of. Shrinking yourself to fit into their tiny, suffocating worlds. And for what? A nod? A smile? A couple of hollow words to keep you chasing them, crawling back for more scraps. Let me let you in on a secret: no one is coming to save you. No matter how much of yourself you give away, it'll never be enough for them. Never. They'll keep moving the goalposts, keep raising the bar until there's nothing left of you but a hollow shell of shadow. A ghost. But here's the beauty of it. Kid, you can stop right now. Right this second, you can decide that their approval isn't worth selling your soul for. You can decide that their opinions no longer get to define you, no longer get to control your life. Here's the real kicker: most of them don't even know what they want. They're just as lost, just as broken, just as desperate as you've been. They've been running in circles, chasing approval from others, just like you. And the worst part? They'll never tell you that. They're clinging to their own lies, their own insecurities, and yet you let them hold the pen that writes your story. Why? Why do you let people who don't even know themselves dictate who you should be? Why do you let their fear, their weakness, their ignorance shape your life? Look at me, kid. Look at me. Do I look like someone who gives a damn about their opinion? Do I look like someone who's waiting for a pat on the back, a gold star, or a good job? No, because I learned a long time ago that their approval isn't a reward, it's a prison. And I broke free. I don't do cages. But don't get it twisted, this isn't about being reckless. This isn't about burning bridges just for the sake of watching them burn. No, this is about power. Your power. The power you've been giving away your whole damn life. You think power comes from being liked? From being loved? Wrong. Power comes from being true to yourself. From standing tall, even when the world is hell-bent on tearing you down. And let me tell you something else: they're going to hate you for it. Oh, they'll hate you with every fiber of their being. Nothing pisses people off more than someone who doesn't need them. Someone who's free. Someone who refuses to play their games. And that's exactly what you're going to be, kid-free. But make no mistake, freedom has a price. You're going to lose people. Friends. Family. People you thought would be there forever. They'll turn on you the second you stop being what they want you to be. They'll call you selfish, arrogant, cold. They'll try to guilt trip you, manipulate you, break you. And it's going to hurt. It's going to feel like a knife twisting in your chest, but that's the cost of breaking free from their chains. It's going to hurt like hell. But pain is the price of power. Pain is the price of freedom. And you're no stranger to pain, are you? You've carried it with you for years. Let it weigh you down, let it define you. But what if I told you that pain could become your greatest weapon? What if I told you that every scar, every wound, every betrayal could make you stronger, sharper, more unstoppable? You see, Pain isn't the enemy. Weakness is. And weakness? That dies the day you stop needing them. Think about it. Think about all the nights you've spent lying awake, haunted by their opinions, wondering why you're not enough. But what if, instead of letting that pain break you, you used it to fuel your rise? Tearing yourself apart, trying to figure out what you did wrong, trying to figure out why you're not enough. And then ask yourself this: who the hell are they to decide your worth? Who the hell are they to tell you who you should be? They don't own you, kid. They don't get to control you. Not anymore. Because here's the truth: the world doesn't care about the desperate. It doesn't respect the ones who need it. It respects the ones who demand it. The ones who don't beg for a seat at the table, they take the damn thing. The ones who don't apologize for who they are. Who don't shrink themselves just to make others comfortable. And that's who you're going to be, kid. Not because you want their respect, but because you respect yourself. And when that happens, when you stop chasing them, stop needing them, that's when the power shifts. That's when they start to see you. Really see you. Not as a pawn. Not as someone they can control. But as a force they can't ignore. But by then you won't care. By then you'll realize you never needed their approval to begin with. So here's the deal. Kid, you can keep living for them, keep breaking yourself trying to earn their respect, their love, their validation. Or you can stand up, take back your power, and start living for yourself. But make no mistake, this isn't about them. This is about you, your life, your choices, your freedom. And freedom? Freedom is worth every scar, every tear, every loss. Freedom is worth the pain. So stop waiting for them to give it to you. Stop waiting for them to see you. And start seeing yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who gets to decide who you are and what you stand for. The day will come when they'll only respect you once you stop needing their approval. And by then you'll realize something important: their respect doesn't matter. Only yours does. But let's not sugarcoat it, kid. This world doesn't hand out respect like candy. It's not something you can buy with your best behavior or trade for a few kind words. No, respect is taken. It's ripped from their hands, torn from their unwilling mouths. And here's the irony: the moment you stop begging for it, the moment you show them you don't need it, that's when they start giving it. People are pathetic. They love control. They love the feeling of having power over someone else. And when you're out there bending, twisting, breaking yourself just to hear you did good, you're giving them that power. You're handing it over wrapped in a neat little bow, saying, "Here, take my worth. Decide it for me." But what if for once you didn't? What if you stood up, spit in their face, and said, "You don't get to decide who I am. You don't get to hold the keys to my soul"? What if you took back every piece they've stolen from you, piece by piece, and reclaimed what was always yours? The moment they realize they can't control you anymore, they lose their power. Completely, utterly, irrevocably. And that's when the real fun begins. Oh, they'll talk. They'll whisper behind your back. They'll scream at you to your face. They'll call you cold, ruthless, heartless. They'll say you've changed, that you've lost yourself. But you haven't lost anything. You found something, something they'll never understand, something they'll never have the guts to find for themselves. Freedom. Freedom, kid. It's the most dangerous thing you can possess. And they'll fear it more than anything. Because once you taste it, once you feel the weight of their expectations fall off your shoulders, you'll never go back. You'll never chain yourself to their opinions again. And that makes you unstoppable. But don't think for a second that freedom comes cheap. No, it costs everything. It costs the people you thought were your friends. It costs the comfort of blending in, of being one of the crowd. It costs the lie you've been telling yourself your whole life that you need them, that you can't do it without them. But once you realize you can, kid, once you realize you're all you'll ever need, that's when you truly break free. Here's the truth, kid, you can. You've always been able to. You just didn't want to believe it. Because believing it meant you couldn't blame them anymore. It meant the responsibility was yours and yours alone. And that's scary, isn't it? Taking responsibility for your life, for your worth, for your choices. But it's also the most powerful thing you'll ever do. You think they're the problem, don't you? The people who ignore you, dismiss you, look right through you like you don't even exist. But here's the hard pill to swallow: the real problem isn't them. It's you. You're the one letting them decide your value. They're not the problem. You are. You've been handing them that power. You've been letting them treat you like you're nothing. And why? Because you believed them. You believed their lies, their whispers, their judgments. You let their voices drown out your own. But what if you stopped? What if, just for a moment, you silenced their voices and listened to yours? What would it say? Would it tell you that you're weak, that you're small, that you're small, that you're not enough? Or would it tell you the truth, that you're stronger than they could ever comprehend, stronger than they ever wanted you to realize? You've survived things that would have destroyed them. You don't need their approval, their validation, their hollow words. You've been looking for strength in all the wrong places, kid. You've been looking for it in their smiles, their nods, their applause. But strength doesn't come from them. It comes from you. From the fire in your gut, the grit in your soul. From the moment you decide you're done living for them and start living for yourself. But don't expect them to understand. They won't. They'll fight you. They'll fight because they need you to stay small. They need you to keep seeking their validation. But that's their fight, not yours. Every step of the way, they'll fight you. Because your freedom is a threat to their control. Your independence is a mirror, showing them everything they're too afraid to be. And people hate mirrors. They hate being reminded of their own weakness, their own cowardice. So they'll try to break you. They'll try to drag you back down to their level. But that's when you have to make a choice. Do you let them? Do you let their fear become yours? Or do you stand tall, stare them down and say, "Not this time. Not ever again." You're at a crossroads, kid. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. One path takes you back to the life you've always known, a life of chains, of cages, of waiting for them to decide your worth. The other, it's a leap into the unknown. It's terrifying. It's painful, but it's free. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to keep living for them? Or are you finally going to start living for yourself? Are you going to keep chasing their approval? Or are you going to take back your power? Because make no mistake, kid, once you take it back, once you stop needing them, you become untouchable. You'll realize something, kid, you never needed them in the first place. But you're still thinking, aren't you? Debating, weighing your options. What if I leave them? What if I let go of their approval? Will I be alone? Will anyone care? What if I'm wrong? Let me stop you right there. Those questions, they're the chains. They're the leash. The very ones they've wrapped around your neck, whispering doubts into your ears, keeping you trapped in a prison you built yourself. And the worst part, you don't even realize it. Here's the thing about fear, kid, it's sneaky. It doesn't come charging at you, teeth bared, claws out. No, it creeps in quietly, disguising itself as logic, as caution, as just being realistic. It whispers, you can't do this alone. You're not strong enough. What if they're right about you? And before you know it, you're paralyzed, stuck, a prisoner of your own mind. But let me tell you something, fear is a liar. It's a parasite feeding off your insecurities, your doubts, and your need for validation. Belonging. The thing you've been chasing. The thing you thought you needed. But the only way to kill that hunger, kid, is to stop feeding it. You've got to stand up, look fear in the eye, and say, I don't believe in you anymore. Oh, they'll call you crazy, reckless, stupid.